Flat on the floor,
nice.
we'll do whatever is comfortable. You did wonderful jobs already, so several of the questions that I was going to ask you have been answered. Congratulations on it. But they asked me to come and speak about how Tech Trek started. And I'm sorry, the girls that were at camp have already heard some of this, but bear with me. It's like so many things that you bring from your childhood. They affect you all your lives. And I was in a relatively small town, but nobody else was interested in science of the girls that I knew. And when we were about freshmen, there was a test that we did to see what we were interested in. And as we were going out, the group of girls together said, wasn't that a stupid question? Who would take apart their toys to see how they worked? And I had to raise my hand. I said, yeah, aren't you curious about what makes them move and so on? Yeah. So there were things like that. And, saying, you're the only girl in physics. Aren't you worried about getting a date for prom? That just tells you something about the times that it was in. There were no athletics for girls. We could do music, and I did a lot of it. But it didn't ruin my life, and it sounds like I'm bragging, but I was homecoming queen, and so that shows that you can be a nerd and still make people happy around you. But all that led to my first going to nursing, and then I'm back to school for medical sociology degree. And it was changing a bit for women at that time, by the time I went back, but not fast enough in my opinion, and still very segregated about what would be appropriate careers. And it wasn't like a lightning bolt hit me, but when I was running for a state AAW program vice president, I was a big believer that the programs we have in the branches is the way we keep or get members. And they had just come out with the survey showing that there is discrimination against girls and so on. And I thought, I just want to change minds. I don't necessarily want to have 50 engineers out of this class, whatever, but just to say, you can do whatever you want to do. But of course, it was expensive. And so when I took it to the state board, I said, we'll apply for a grant from National, because there were grants available for up to $5,000. And they said, okay, we'll approve it, and they approved it unanimously on the condition that we got that grant. And with the help of an experienced member grant writer, we got the grant. So it was go ahead in '98 that was said it at Stanford, and that's because where I live, it was easy. But the enthusiasm from the branches really surprised me because they had to pay some money, but it wasn't as much the first year. And they kept coming in, and I kept saying, calling them saying, we need more dorm rooms. We need more dorm rooms. And when we thought that we'd be lucky to have 50 girls, we had 150 that first year. And because it was the only camp, we were sure that it would be mostly people that could drive. Wrong. Southern California had so many girls that they got together and they virtually took over an airplane, and some of the AEW members flew with them to drive them up to San Jose and then come to Stanford. It was the members that made this successful. So give yourselves a pat on the back, because without that, and I thought, well, this is great. It'll probably last maybe 5 or 10 years. I would never have dreamed that 27 years later, we would still be having fun. And it was with a lot of support, a lot of grant writing to help supplement, because there's no way those universities are going to give up a cash cow like summer camps. And they keep raising their rates, so it's not just because we're paying. But, it's still virtually a volunteer program. We've always paid the teachers. you should do that for the work provided. But the youth counselors and the dorm moms and the nurse are all volunteers, and AUW members do that. So again, it makes us very proud to be a member of an organization that is so supportive. Now, I had a lot of questions I was going to ask you, but you've answered many of them. But let's see, if we can go around like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as you answer these questions the first time, say again your first names, please. Okay, so I'm wondering, when the teachers that nominated you, did they tell you that they were nominating you, or did they ask you?
Microphone.
And I'm assuming that, it's not, okay. I'm assuming that you've all thanked them either in person or in writing, but did you know that your name had been submitted to AEW before you heard from them? Let's start and just go yes, no. Thank you.
Yes. My name is Annette.
And did your teacher tell you?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
My name's Caitlin, and I didn't know until my mom told me.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Lydia, and I knew before, but they did ask me if I wanted to go. They pulled up a group of girls, and they asked us if they wanted to go, and yeah, we knew.
Okay.
My name's Iris, and yeah, my science teacher told me, but it wasn't until like afterwards that I got the email, so I wasn't really sure for about 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
My name is Rakshana, and no, my science teacher didn't tell me until I got the email from Tech Trek.
I'm Arnie, and no, my science teacher didn't tell me, but my counselor did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Yukti, and my science teacher asked me a couple weeks before if I was interested in STEM, and because she'd seen through my performance that I really loved it, and then I got called into the office, and my counselor told me a couple weeks later. That was amazing.
My name is Shambhavi, and my science teacher just showed me the flyer and told me if I wanted to, and then she said that she nominated me for it.
I'm Lemma, and my science teacher, she pulled up a photo in our class saying, "Oh, would anybody be interested in joining this camp?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." So that's how I got signed up.
Good. Well, just kind of for my own information, it's nice to know how it is. But it's kind of personal, but would you raise your hand if you were nervous going into the interview? I think that's legitimate. It's not a problem. Would one of you volunteer to tell us the names of the camp directors? Camp Carson. Okay.
The main director was Doreen, and I think her name was Judy. Jerry. It was Jerry. Yes, I remember.
Mm-hmm. Do you know which city they're from?
I don't really know.
It's not terribly important.
Marie, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, now one by one in the circle again. Let's say, who is your dorm mom and your roommate and your youth counselor?
Do you want to say
That's
all our
fine.
roommates?
That's fine.
Do you want to say like all our roommates or just one?
Pardon?
For our roommates, do you want us to say one or like all of them?
Oh, you had more than one roommate? Oh, okay. Well, tell us about that. Yeah.
My dorm mom was Christina. I had 2 roommates, Valeria and Sophia, and my youth counselor was Alyssa.
My dorm mom was Gail, and my counselor was Annabelle.
My dorm mom was Isa. My peer counselors were Zero and Greta, and my roommates were 2 girls named Arya and Carla. I love them so much.
I'm going to start with my roommates because I need time to remember what my dorm mom's name was.
That's okay.
My roommates' names were Kalina and Penny, and my peer counselor's name was Gretel.
My dorm moms was Simone. My peer counselors were Julia and Kirtana, and my roommate was Ella.
My dorm mom was Maddie, my peer counselor was Brianna, and I only had one roommate, and her name was Meredith.
My peer counselor was Annabelle. My roommate was Jaden, and my dorm mom was Gail.
My dorm mom was Zoe, my peer counselor was Emmeline, and my roommate was Shelly.
My dorm mom was Wendy. My peer counselors were Maddie and Sarah, and my roommate was named Ellis.
You'll get an idea from that, if you didn't already know, that we deliberately do not room together girls from the same branch or schools, so that they have the opportunity to get ready for college with a strange roommate sometimes. And raise your hand if you're still in touch with one of your roommates. Oh, that's good. Mhm. Okay. And I'll just pick one more question then. Which class were you in, and what's one or two things that you take away from that class that impressed you?
I was in math, and something that impressed me was the Fibonacci sequence and X bar.
My core class was science, and I learned that there's a lot more to like biology than just microscopes.
My core class was science. I think one of the main things I took away was how much work went into it and how deep you can really go and how interesting it was. My teacher was nice enough to take us to her own personal lab that she was doing her PhD in, and I thought that it was amazing that I was able to get such an opportunity.
My core class was engineering, and one of the things that impressed me was how many other fields of STEM, like biology, could be used with engineering.
My core class was engineering, and something that I really liked was electromagnetism. I found that really interesting, and I really liked the people in my class, and my teacher was really nice, and she helped me a lot.
My core class was technology, and something that I found really fun was working with both online digital coding as well as real life circuits. And I found it really interesting that it was really difficult to troubleshoot a code when something went wrong, because there was so many words and numbers on the screen, and it was really hard to find out which of them was actually wrong.
My core class was math, and one thing to take away was the pre-calculus and the Fibonacci sequence.
My core class was also engineering, and one thing that I think I took away was that there's so many endless possibilities with what you can do, even if you don't actually build it, just designing it.
My core class was math, and one thing that stood out to me was learning how to calculate linear regression.
Can I ask one more question? I'm sorry, I didn't know we were going to be so time limited. I started with the soft questions to warm up. Yeah. Well, thank you for participating, and I hope that the audience got a little bit of a flavor for the variety that the girls are introduced to in only 6 days. Thank you. Thank you very much.